Hello my friends, welcome to this video in which I will talk about the history of records. I'm doing this opening here in this hotel which is called Superbude. There are two in the world, one in Hamburg and one in Vienna where we are now. And it's really a fascinating place in general, but also because there is here this turntable and there are lots of records to listen to. For the history of the records, we go to the countryside. Let's go. I'm making the story very short. 1957, the French Édouard Léon Scott de Martinville invented the phonograph, which was the first way of recording and of restituting sound. Then we go to the United States with Thomas Edison, which in 1877 invented the phonograph, and we'll be arriving at 1887 with Emil Berliner, who put the patent for having these recordings on these records with these micro-sillons. We've talked about the history of, let's say, the turntables, and now it's worth spending a little bit of time on the discs themselves. So the story starts, let's say, especially early 1900 and a bit later on, when the phonograph started to be with an electric motor, and this led to these records which are made out of shellac. They are rather thick and they are really breakable quite easily. Let's have a closer look at the records. So of course it's a very nice outfit, and you see here these 70 RPMs are looking like this. As I told you, they're extremely fragile, so they're breaking very easily. And to be very honest, there is absolutely no interest in buying those old records, because the truth is that the sound when recording was really very poor. So these are of course very nice objects, but honestly the sound is not good enough unless you would like to listen to an exclusive record of the Castafiore from Tintin. It's really not worth spending money and time on this, even if of course these records are very nice objects, and you can see here how thick they are. These type of records were extensively produced until the Second World War, and the shellac became rather seldom because it was needed for war purposes. This is why in 1948 came the invention of the vinyl record, which is by far less breakable than the ones made out of shellac. The vinyl records, this is 33 RPM, came from Columbia Records. So it looks like this. So this is much softer, it's much thinner. And one little hint is when you are storing them, it is better to put the opening on the top, so that the disc, the record, cannot escape from this here. And a little bit later arrived RCA with the 45 RPM. which look like this. So these are the singles. This is 7 inches. For a while, the 7 inches records were given as goodies. You see an example seen in L'Aventure Michelin, a museum in Clermont-Ferrand. And so it looks like this. So here the peculiarity is that you will need an adapter for placing it on the turntable. And don't try to make these adapters yourself, specifically if you don't have any hole saw with the right diameter. So better to buy it in a shop or for £1 on the flea market. So this was usually what I bought when I didn't have the money for buying the full album. So the records took a very prominent place in music until the 80s, because arrived in the 80s the cassettes, easier to use with more time on it, and later on arrived the CD, which for a while destroyed all the record market. But happily, since the years 2000, the vinyl records came back. And probably one of the reasons is that they just have an amazing sound, which to my ears is much better than the CD. And basically today the two standards which are quite famous are on one hand the 33 RPM records, so this is this size, this here is 12 inch, and then you have the singles, this is 7 inch, and this is with 45 RPM. Having said that, let's go to the demonstration about how to use the records.